Welcome back to Wrestling Addicts. I'm Jimmy Anderson along with Rich Walker and Rafael Guzman. And keep in mind, follow us on social media, please. Facebook, The Wrestling Addict Show. We're growing. We've got over 200 members going strong, and we're growing just about every single day. Twitter is @WrestlingAddicts. Okay, there's no G in there. And for further information, we may put that on the screen for you. I think we will. Won't we, Rich?
You sure will.
Yes. Rich works his butt off editing this program. Let me tell you, he does a great job. And Rafael, you do a great job. And now he's always here except for this week. He does a great job. And Mitch Brock over there, he does a great job in the booth. Mike Tula and Chuck Anderson. And I'm just giving a shout out to the crew. The whole crew. Yeah, absolutely.
Mike
it's a team
Rodriguez
effort,
made
man.
all
Mike
the
Rodriguez.
logos.
How did I forget Mike Rodriguez? I can't believe that. I'm sorry, Mike. He's not here either. I guess he's feeling a little...
They're here in spirit, though.
They're here in spirit. Amen to that. Yeah. And we were talking about CM Punk's career, his attitude. And yes, I do agree. When you are a success, I mean, you've got to be confident, obviously. But let's talk a little bit about his out-of-ring persona. When he does interviews, when he interacts with the fans, I've noticed that over the years, there have been problems with some of the fans and the way they feel about his attitude. Sometimes they feel that he's not very respectful to the fans, that he doesn't give autographs where autographs are due. And sometimes I can understand.
He talks about that in his podcast.
Yeah, okay. Well, which maybe you can fill
us
on a little bit. Go ahead.
Okay, in his podcast, he says that they're always tweeting about him being a jerk or an a-hole, as I said earlier. He's like, why don't they ever tweet about the fans that I took pictures with, the fans that I give them autographs? He's like, one guy said something bad, it went like, I guess viral or whatever. How come the other 5 people that I give them autographs or took pictures with them, nobody knows about that? And he said the guy was like, he called him, hey, Phil, because that's his, his name.
Yeah, his real name.
And he was with his wife, AJ.
AJ Lee.
And
WWE diva currently, by the way.
Right. And it just goes down, I mean, he's out at a game and he wants to enjoy himself with his wife. And out of respect to a fan, of course he's gonna, give him an autograph or whatever. But for someone to come up to him and just expect it out of nowhere, like, hey, let me take a picture with you, dude,
That I agree with.
He felt like he was being disrespected, and that's why.
I agree with that. There are some fans who, I guess, feel entitled.
Way over the top.
Yeah.
Right, I feel too entitled, like on Facebook. I think he mentioned something about he does have the right to block people on his, or his Twitter, excuse me.
He has a power.
Twitter. He has that power because it's his house, it's his window, people are screaming, and he can shut that window.
Right.
I agree with that. I think the fans should be more respectful to him as well. But like you said, hey, Phil, can I get a picture? That's not the way to do it.
That is the wrong way to approach a guy.
From what I understand, they don't really want to be called by their real name. They want to be called by their wrestling gimmick, in some ways. It's kind of disrespectful in some cases.
Well,
you were right.
It's kind of creepy because you think about it. I mean, he's known across the world as CM Punk. For you to take the time to go do the research and figure out, oh, his name's Phil, and call this man by his government name in public, that's kind of creepy because he's used to being called CM Punk over and over and over by all the fans. This one weirdo is going to call him Phil.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
But I will call Edward Lesnar Edward.
Well, his first name really is Brock, right? Brock Edward.
Well, I call him Edward Lesnar.
Call him Ed.
He has to earn Brock back.
You could call him Eddie.
Yeah, that's not bad. That's not bad.
Eddie, because he thinks he's Brock the Monster.
Yeah.
He's more like Eddie Munster.
Edo.
But in any case, sorry.
You guys are just like some Brock Lesnar haters.
Edward Lesnar.
Well,
Edward. He's got to earn Brock back.
I feel like I had put my foot in my mouth thinking a part-time champion might be better. But the problem is I didn't think he'd be this part-time.
It's not part-time. It's no time.
It's right.
Yeah.
I thought he'd at least come out on Raw or something and cut some promos for
Raphael and I have had more exposure to WWE Universe recently than Edward Lesnar.
Yeah.
I think CM Punk has had more exposure to
He has.
That's pitiful.
The Bunny has put in more work than Edward Lesnar.
Don't get me started.
Come on.
Do not get me started on that.
Come on. That's another show altogether.
Yeah, don't get me started on this.
Just saying. I'm sorry. That was your random Edward Lesnar rant for the day. Let's get back to the show. I'm sorry.
Yeah, let's get back to CM Punk. I've heard stories about fans bothering him in the early wee hours of the morning when he comes in from a flight. Hey, sign this, sign that, sign this, sign that. I mean, let me ask you this. Do you think he at least owes it to be respectful to the fans?
Yes, he does. And I think that if you approach him in a respectable way, like if I say, hey, Phil, or if I say, oh, hey, CM Punk, nice to meet you. I appreciate all what you do for the fans or whatever.
I can tell you from experience, because I'm around professional athletes all the time. They do not like to. They like their space. Okay.
Right.
Because there's always this layer of space between the fan and the performer.
Correct.
If you're on the field, they're in the stands. If you're in the ring, they're in the seats. They always want some type of boundary. And if you don't respect this man enough to respectfully approach that boundary without doing some weird junk like calling the man out his name and doing and also the other thing that some folks are looking at get knocked out, because I see people like grab and touch athletes and stuff like do
But
that
at the
kind of
same
stuff.
time, you don't know what someone's gonna do. You don't know.
Yeah,
There's
they don't
crazy-
know. They don't know. And then you got to think about the repetition. These guys get contacted over and over and over and over again by people wanting autographs and pictures and selfies and hug my baby and all this other crap. It gets boring after a while.
Isn't that expected though when you become famous?
Yeah, but it's
Yes.
That's kind of a price you got to pay.
but you don't owe everybody an autograph.
No,
you don't.
That's true.
You don't.
As long as you show
And
respect to
especially
them,
especially
if they show respect
There's a
to
time
me.
and a place.
right,
They have
and
autographs.
especially when he's out with his family, and this is where these incidents happen. When he's out with his family, leave him in. It's family time. When he's after a WWE event or autograph signing or fan event, then that's the time to do that. But if you see the man at the restaurant with his wife, leave him the hell alone.
I can concur with that. Maybe a simple hello would be fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you start
And
rushing up to him, sign this, sign
Usually,
that.
what you'll find, this is again going back to my experience, if it's okay, they'll invite you in. Oh, you want to take a picture? Yeah, come on in.
And
Take a
I'll
picture
tell you
real
what
quick, yeah.
happened, and he mentions this in the podcast, on the Code Cabana podcast. A fan was wearing a Code Cabana shirt at a restaurant. I don't know exactly where. And CM Punk told the waiter, I'm going to pick up his tab, and he paid for the fan's tab.
Wow. Now that's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, now let me ask you, maybe I'm interpreting him wrong in some ways because of the fact perhaps he's living his gimmick outside of the ring, kayfabing what he does inside. Do you think that's
I don't-
possible with his interviews and with things like that?
I
that
don't-
he's sort of doing his character.
I
so
don't
to
think
speak?
I don't think so. I think he's just being himself.
Yeah.
Because even backstage, from what I gathered from the podcast, I don't think that there's a communication or a strong communication between him and some of the performers backstage.
He looks after himself.
Exactly. He's business. He's 100% business. He's gonna go out there. He's gonna do what he's got to do, and when he's done, he's ready to go.
Now, yeah, I think it's okay to look after yourself as long as you're not egotistical about it or try to hurt anybody. I
Yeah.
think you've got to keep safe as well because wrestling is a very dangerous
Absolutely.
sport. It's entertainment, but there's a sporting.
And he
aspect
mentions
to
it on his podcast that Ryback, or as he called him, steroid guy, that he purposely gorilla press slammed him, missed the table, and dropped him on a concrete.
Why would he do that?
And well, he said that he also kicked him on the ribs.
I heard that. But why would Ryback jeopardize somebody's career like that and do something like that?
Ryback's response on Talk is Jericho, he said that if I was that dangerous, why would they put me out there with like Dolph Ziggler or with Randy Orton? Which is true. WWE wouldn't keep him there if he was that dangerous.
Really?
But at the same time, really? Okay, we just trying to be the
But
Miz.
he's a WWE puppet. Let's call it what it is. I mean, Ryback is
Right.
He's a card carrying WWE puppet.
But Raphael, don't you remember when they mentioned to CM Punk, we want to put you in a program with Ryback, even though he's not ready, and you can carry him?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they knew he wasn't ready. They knew
Right.
darn
Of course
well
they
he
knew.
wasn't
Of
ready.
course they knew that.
So why would they, so I think, I don't think WWE's statement holds water about why, or even Ryback's statement, holds water about why would they keep me if I'm not safe. They
And
want to build him up, but they didn't do it.
maybe he didn't purposely do it,
I think it might have been ignorance. Like he just didn't know.
or it could have been ignorance.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
I don't think it was intentionally done on Ryback's part. But I mean, come on, Ryback is what, like
He's still
300
green.
pounds?
He's still green.
And CM Punk is
Yeah.
what, like
Ryback
maybe
is
200
still
pounds?
very green in his technical skills in the ring. He's very green.
They need more time to develop.
Right.
They're putting these guys out there, as Al has mentioned in numerous times here on the show, and they're not ready. CM Punk was ready.
Big time.
Right.
That's the difference. He
veteran.
came up from the indie circuit through the and I think it's commendable that he trained the right way after the backyard wrestling.
Right.
His experiences there, you know, because a lot of people backyard wrestlers, I think they're going to be the greatest wrestlers of all time, but they don't have the commitment that CM Punk had, regardless of CM Punk's self-worth or how he portrays himself. Yes, his talent is definitely there.
Big time.
Yeah, and he deserved that main event with The Undertaker as the last match of the night. He
That
deserved
match
it.
should have been a main event. And
It was a great match.
It was a great match, and I don't understand why.
I think if any guy in the business currently deserved to have the Taker streak, it should have been CM Punk.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely with his heelishness.
The promos that he shot for
Yes.
just
Oh man, with the Paul Heyman. coming
Oh,
out,
with the urn! Oh my goodness, dude, that was classic.
That's what you call getting heat.
Yes.
And that's the right way to get heat.
And I mean that
He gets the business.
They could have transitioned CM Punk into literally the biggest heel in history. If they put him
and
over,
they were doing it
Taker.
for a while.
He
They
was
were
close
doing it.
already, but he would have been a off the charts heel if they put him over Taker at WrestleMania. After that promo, oh my God.
I would have hated him for it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I already didn't. I mean, there was something about his character. I just
Well,
didn't.
see, he was supposed to wrestle. Had he stayed, he was supposed to wrestle Triple H at WrestleMania this year, but he didn't, and he wanted the main event. He didn't want to wrestle Triple H. He's like,
does?
I've already done that. He's
Yeah.
like, if I'm gonna wrestle the main event, let me get the main event.
Right.
Even if it's not the title, let me get the main event.
Right.
Even if he didn't win the title, but he did deserve that spot, and he got robbed of it. That's just the bottom line.
Absolutely. And he's cut some of the best promos in recent wrestling history. And we're going to get
bomb.
to that pipe bomb. Yes, absolutely. And we're going to do that right after this quick message from BTP Sports here on Wrestling Addicts. So be sure to stay with us. We'll be right back.